What's up, y'all? How we doing? Um, I wanted to talk about another milestone in my life that I've achieved today that I'm kind of excited about, and we're gonna get into some depressing stuff, but it's a journey to get to explain where I am today. So I have been on Subutex for 2 years now, which those of you that don't know what that is, it's basically Suboxone. And Suboxone, what that is basically a partial antagonist opioid that binds to your opioid receptors and blocks out opiates. So if I were to take an opiate, I would not be able to feel it. And Suboxone has naloxone in it, which is something that, from what I understand, keeps you from overdosing, and Subutex does not have the naloxone in it, so it's more prone to abuse because you can actually abuse it, but you can risk overdosing on it. Suboxone, the more you take, the more naloxone you take. I personally was having weird reactions to the naloxone, so Subutex was a better fit for me, but I have been on two a day, or I've been on it for 2 years. I started off at 4 a day. 4 a day. One more than the recommended dosage. Usually they tap out at 3, but I was on 4. So let me tell you a story. I have been a drug addict most of my life, and started when I was very young. And my mother, actually, gave me my first Perk 10 when I was 10 years old. Now, if you ask her, she'll tell you something different. She'll tell you it was because I got into a car wreck and she wanted me to feel better. That is the first time I got a Perk 10, yes, but this is not what I'm referring to. We were on our way to Memphis, and I was just found out my kitten had died over at her abusive shithead boyfriend's house. And I was crying. And we were on a 6-hour road trip, and she handed me this pill, and I took it. I'm 10 years old. I'm not shitting you. And it was a Perk 10. And it kicked in, and obviously I was not crying about my cat anymore. I felt better. And I have never felt more warm and more happy in my life. That warm rush of just like your soul is having an orgasm. I experienced it at 10 years old. And that first time got me thinking, what the hell? What was that? And pretty soon, I got to the point where I would ask her for one every now and then, and she would give them to me. Or if I didn't want to go over to her shithead boyfriend's house, she would give me some, so I would be drugged out and not care. No, I don't want to go over to his fucking house, fuck you, because I lived with 13 different guys growing up, and my mom had me when she was 15, so her way of surviving is like my ex-wife, jump from dude to dude and let him take care of you. Now, she was a massage therapist, so there was a moment of time where she was on her own, but most of my life was spent moving from guy to guy. And out of the 13, 2 were worth the shit. So that's 11 not worth the shit. She would literally give me Perk 10s mixed with a Soma. Combo, if you will. So I wouldn't care about going over to her guy's boyfriend's house that I didn't like. So I would be drugged up and not care. And by 14, as you can imagine, I was all into it. I was completely into opiates. I was stealing them from her purse, and I got in trouble because I took them to school and actually gave them to friends. And dude, I'm 10. I don't know what the fuck. I look back on it, and I don't know what I was thinking. I think that I was wanting to get in with the cool kids, and I gave them to my friends. I didn't sell them. Like, I literally just gave it to them. Like, I would show up to school high, also was already drinking. Got my first drink from my mother, too. would show up to school stoned off pills and drunk and whatever, and got in trouble for handing them out. I handed them out to friends, and a parent found out, and I got told on, basically. And then I had to switch schools. And basically, I switched schools for 2 years. My mother started living with another guy who had an alcohol problem and would share alcohol with me. And so as a 14-year-old, I'm snorting perks, drinking, smoking weed, doing all these things with my step-parent and my mother. And this is around the age where me and my mother started butting heads, because I started realizing just kind of what an awful, manipulative mother she was, and started butting heads with her. And she sent me off to rehab. So my freshman year of high school, I was actually in rehab. And this was an actual rehab, like you earned your way out. I was there for 6 months, downtown Memphis, baby, MRC. Literally had a fucking tall gate with barbed wire around it, and they said it wasn't to keep us in, it was to keep people out, because it's downtown Memphis, dude. This is not a place you want to be at night. And for New Year's Eve, they celebrated at midnight by shooting guns off. I'm not shitting you, man. But this was basically a rehab for young adults under 18. Most of the people there were 17. I was 14. I was the youngest person there. And I turned 15 in there. And I did my freshman year. They had school. They basically had 4-hour periods where you did your core classes. And I made straight A's and shit. And got sober. And I don't want to go off on too many tangents. I have a lot of stories to tell. But while I was in there, right before moving in there, I was living with my aunt and uncle. And they both died when I was in rehab. My aunt had a sudden heart attack. And then my uncle took his own life 6 months later. Or 4 months later. And the day I got out of rehab was because my uncle took his life. I was actually supposed to get out 2 days after that, and after finding out that he died, they decided to let me out early, which double sucked because there's like a graduation ceremony that I didn't get to do. I just kind of had to leave crying and tell everybody that I got to know and become basically brothers and sisters with for the last 6 months. Basically just had to hug them all real quick and tell them bye. Usually they have a graduation ceremony, and each person you sit in a chair in a you sit in a chair in the middle of a big circle, and you go to each person in the room and you talk to them one-on-one. And that's your graduation ceremony, and then you leave the rehab center. I got sober, and I went back to the previous school where I took pills, and basically that's all anybody remembered me for. By this point, it had been 4 years. That's all anybody remembered me for, was that dumbass kid that brought pills to school and gave them all away. It amazes me that no parents, not a single parent, thought, why is that kid taking perks at 10 years old? No, instead they all just made fun of me about it, and I don't know. That was just what they talked about. But when I was in high school, I was sober. I worked a part-time job whenever I became 15, and I played soccer. I graduated 7th in my class out of 65 people, and I made all A's and B's, and I made your average fucking rich kid with C average grades look stupid, even though I was that pillhead that just did drugs, and that's all they would ever bring up. I was clearly bettering myself while they were just staying the average sorry sack of shit that they were, and it had to have kind of hurt them in some way that a drug addict like me was better than them in every way when it came to sports, fucking academics, determination. I had a high school sweetheart that I dated for 3 years, and then I graduated, and then shit went downhill. My teeth were rotten, and I had my second tooth abscess, which, if you haven't had a tooth abscess, what it is it rots from the inside out, and it is the most agonizing pain. I wanted to blow my head off. I'm not kidding you. I had my head. You got these like aura gels that you can put on it that's supposed to have lidocaine in it and numb it. And I went through a whole tube one night just desperately and was just down like this, and my face was swollen. I literally wanted to blow my head off. It hurt that bad. And I had to get that tooth pulled, and I got revealed to me that basically all my teeth needed pulled. I bet you can see where this is going. I basically got prescribed Perk 10s for 6 months in a row because they would pull 3 teeth. Each tooth would get dry socket, so it would take twice as long to heal. So I was on perks for way longer than I should have been, and then they cut me off cold turkey. I just went from getting my teeth pulled every other week, like I would get 3 teeth pulled, to the last procedure, which was pull 11 teeth and then put the dentures in the same day. And it was agonizing, and I was awake for every single one. And the last one, it was not numb enough, and I told them that, and they didn't believe me. And whenever they went in with the saw, because it was 11 teeth and one was a wisdom tooth, I felt it and grabbed his fucking hand. And he said, "Oh, you can feel that?" I was like, "Yeah." And I got laughing gas. It was a $50 add-on, so I got gas every time. But I still remember every moment. Like, the assistant, I could see my reflection through her glasses. Anyway, Perk 10s for 6 months suddenly just took me off of them. No winging me off. No, like, go from 3 a day to 2 a day to 5 milligram or, like, a benzo or some type of anxiety thing. Nothing. 6 months of 3 Perk 10s a day suddenly taken away. And that started this dark road from 18 to, honestly, until I had my daughter, that I struggled from. I started drinking really bad. I actually did heroin one time. One time I did powder. I never touched a needle, but I did powder. I was desperate for pain pills and desperate to not feel sick, so I would do stuff like drink and, yeah, would buy pills and basically got addicted to all that, right? And then I started finding out about poppy seed tea, where you buy poppy seeds that are unwashed and make a tea out of it and kratom, and then eventually got my hands on what's called Tiana, which, hear these words, do not ever get Tiana. Do not ever try it. If you see it in a vape store, stay the fuck away from it, please, for the love of God. It's called tianeptine. What it is it's a drug that in Europe is prescribed as an antidepressant. And what it does is it binds to your opioid receptors like an opiate and makes you feel exactly like you took a perk. But it has a half-life of 2 hours or 4 hours, and it wears off in like an hour. And the next time you take it, you basically have to double the dose. So we're talking about, it costs $50, $40 for 15 pills. You take 2. You feel good. It wears off in an hour, and you're having withdrawal symptoms. And then the next time you get it, you have to take 3 or 4 to get the same desired effect. It wears off in a couple hours, and you go through withdrawal. This was the most addicting, hard-hitting, expensive stuff I've ever ran into. Like, there's pain pills, there's heroin, there's all the drugs out there. But these, because of the short amount of time that it lasted and the immediate increase in tolerance, it led to a living hell. And if you do your research on it, and taking it in large doses, it can be harder to come off of than heroin. So after years of doing kratom and years of taking pain pills and drinking and finding Tiana, hoping to cut back on my kratom and then getting addicted to that, I got to a point where I was spending, do the math, $40 for 15 pills. I got to a point where 15 pills was 1 dose $40 was one dose. It wears off in a couple hours. Now I'm taking another 15, but I gotta take 18. I spent probably $3,000 before I went and got help, because I was getting so sick off of them that Kratom wouldn't touch it. There was nothing I could do. I was in hell. And that's when I got on Subutex. And Subutex helped me get off this drug, tianeptine, which I wish to God I never messed around with. Because me doing Kratom, at the end of the day, Kratom isn't good for you, and it's not something that I recommend you do. But for some people, I've heard that it does great things. For people that suffer from chronic pain, I've heard it helps them, and it helps them not have to take so many narcotics. And at the end of the day, would I choose Kratom over an actual narcotic? Yes, I do think it's the better option. What Kratom is it basically low doses acts as a stimulant like a cup of coffee, but in high doses binds to your opioid receptors and kind of feels like you took a perk. So they have Kratom shots out there, and like anytime you go to a gas station and you see like a Kratom shot, that's what that is. It's basically a dose of feeling like you're on an opiate. It's gas station heroin. Tiana, Pegasus, all Zaza, all the tianeptine stuff. It's basically heroin, and gas station fucking heroin. I mean, they got Adol too. They got gas station amphetamines. Anyway, I got on Subutex. Finally seemed like it was helping keep me from getting physically sick. Didn't really help with the mental cravings. I still suffer from mental cravings. I'm always going to suffer from mental cravings. I was doing opiates when I was 10, man. My brain was still developing. Why do you think I got so many anxiety problems? Like, it's no wonder that I'm unable to feel joy, or that I'm always angry, or that I'm always anxious, because literally, while I was developing, I was frying my serotonin receptors. And my mom was just letting it happen. And yeah, so the Subutex, it helped. I tried Suboxone first, and it made me really weird. The Naloxone made me feel like I was going to die. It made me have panic attacks. I can't explain it. But I finally found the right doctor who actually was listening and gave me Subutex, and sure enough, it worked. It kept me from getting physically ill. It kept me to where the cravings were at bay, and I was able to function. And that was right around the time that I had my daughter. So I have been on Subutex basically since she's been born. And today, we are starting the process of weaning me off. I was on 4 a day. I went down to 3 a day. And now I'm on 1/2 a day. 1.5 a day. Now, I tell the doctors that I still take 3 a day. And here's why. I have had 4 times now where I've gotten prescribed my Subutex prescription for the month, and I've gone to the pharmacy, and because my appointment is at the end of the month, apparently the pharmacy has X amount they're allowed to prescribe a month, and every time I go to fill mine, they're like, nope, we're out, we don't have any, and can't fill it. And boy, let me tell you, this is a worldwide problem, or at least this is a problem that needs to be dealt with, because suddenly going without Subutex is like a diabetic suddenly going without insulin. You cannot just not have it. And I've 4 times now been forced to go an entire week without my Subutex. And for any of you out there that are knowledgeable about the subject, going from 4 a day to suddenly nothing for a week, I was in ERs, dude. I was like, all because I couldn't get my script filled. So I got down. After one of those times that I had to go a week without, I went back to my normal dosage of 3, but that seemed to be like it was hitting me too much. So I started taking 1.5, and that seemed to be more comfortable. But I proceeded to tell the doctor that I was taking 3. That way, I could start having extras in case I ever ran into that situation where they were out And thank God I've done that, because I have ran into that damn near every month now. But it's not a big deal because now I have extra. So the doctor thinks that we're on 3 a day, but I'm actually on 1.5 a day. I take half a pill 3 times a day. And I'm supposed to take a whole pill 3 times a day. So the plan is that we're going to go down to 2.5 pills. But I'm actually going to try to go down to 1 pill. Because at the end of the day, this isn't something I want to be on. Like, the first thing she said to me was that 83% of people that get off this relapse. I just got cheated on and went through a divorce and got kicked out of my apartment because of a protective order that was falsely reported. Got my daughter taken away while I was out of my apartment. Had this dude move in, spent all my rent money on booze and alcohol, got my kid handed back to me and called a cockblock, came home to this dude in my apartment, kicked them both the fuck out, dealt with all that, went from that, trying to figuring out work, trying to figuring out daycare, trying to figure out how to make ends meet, and I didn't even so much as have a drink. And this woman had the audacity to say to me, 83% of people relapse. Like, dude, I'm sober because of that little girl. Whatever my mom was born with, that bone that makes you... I don't understand how somebody can be a drug addict and have a kid. I don't. Because the second that little girl came into the world, it was not a choice. It was, I'm getting sober. I'm getting on this stuff. Because I also had a drinking problem, too, whenever I met my ex-wife. And for the first year before we had the baby, I was drinking a lot. And, like, no, when I heard she was coming into the world, I cleaned the fuck up. I needed to do that anyway because I was a 23-year-old waste of space moping about my life up to that point. And it was time to buckle the fuck up and kick it in gear. And I'm a very good worker, and I am very smart. I'm not trying to be arrogant, but I am a very good. Whether I'm washing dishes, waiting tables, cleaning cars, cleaning carpets, fucking carpentry, you name it. Whatever the fuck it is I do it well. I always give everything 100%. And I pride myself on that, on being a good worker and being smart. And I do think that will pay off one day. Where was I going with that? There was a point that I was going to make with that. Anyways, I kicked it in gear for her. I'm going to have cravings for the rest of my life. That's just the facts. But she makes me want to be sober. She makes me remember who I am when I'm on drugs. Who I am when I drink, which is an obnoxious, angry asshole. Somebody that has no business ever meeting her. She's never going to meet that side of me. She is why I am sober, not the Subutex. The Subutex keeps me from getting physically sick, but I've been on it so long at this point that it literally mentally does nothing for me. It's not like it ever got me high, but like, if you're going through horrible withdrawals and you take it, you feel it. I don't know how to explain that. Like, you don't feel it in a damn, I feel like good type way, but like, you stop sweating so much. You stop feeling like you're gonna die because you literally feel like you're gonna die. You got restless leg syndrome. You literally feel like you're gonna die. And you just feel decent. And it takes away the cravings and you can function. I'm a single dad. I can't just not have my medicine for a fucking week. And so that's why I've been stockpiling it. And now I'm finally comfortable telling the doctor that I'm ready to go down because I think I have enough that, you know, if I get hit with, oh, we can't give it to you for a week, I should be fine. But I'm making the step to go down to 1 a day and get off this. Because to me, it's doing more harm than good. Maybe TMI, but I'm going to share it anyway. It's led to gastrointestinal issues, dude. Opiate constipation is a serious fucking thing. Barely being able to shit. It suppresses my appetite, makes me unable to eat. It impacts my body as if I was on opiates. Like, I may not be taking it and getting high, but my body is still reacting as if it's an opiate. So my digestive system is non-existent, basically. And I feel like at this point, the negatives just don't outweigh the positives. It keeps me from getting physically sick, but I still have cravings, because I always will, and my body's being impacted in a negative way. So we finally are making the step to wing off, and hopefully I can go down to 1 a day. Take half one at night, 1 during the morning, 12 hours apart. Kick it off with my caffeine and take it with my Klonopin at night. Like, I've been doing a 2.5 THC gummy because I'm sensitive to THC, and 2.5 CBD gummy along with my anxiety meds, and I finally go to sleep like a baby. And because I have that anxiety med now, I think that'll actually help a lot with getting off of this. But I really want to get off of it, man, because at this point, it's a strong thing that's negatively impacting my body. And at the end of the day, it's still fooling my body into thinking I'm taking an opiate, and I want to be off of it. I want my body to not be on an opiate. I want it to function normally. They say that it takes 2 years for your brains to go back to normal. Like, I don't know if I quit it, like, if I'm just suddenly gonna have, like, more cravings. Like, I already have cravings. I think about pills all the time. If I watch a show like Dope Sick and I see people snorting pills, my fucking mouth waters, dude. That's the truth. But I don't do it because I don't want to. I don't want to. I remember what it was like to be that worthless, spending that much money. I like having money, man. When I was a drug addict, I never had fucking money. Every check, that's what it went to. You know? I have money now. Well, barely. After bills, not really. My point is, if I was doing drugs, I wouldn't have the money to pay bills, but you get what I mean. So yeah, you know, I didn't know if I was going to make this video and talk about this because it's pretty deep, and at the end of the day, nobody cares. I'm, you know, starting the journey of weaning off Subutex, and I felt like that was something worth mentioning and celebrating because I have been battling opiate addiction my entire life, and I'm finally, mind over matter, think I can get off this shit and better myself, better my digestive system, start worrying about my diet. So I need to start worrying about my health, man. Not to be depressing, but I've never given a shit about myself until she came into the world. And then I started, like, now I freak out about my health. Now I'm a hypochondriac because I gotta be healthy for her. She has nobody else. I'm all she knows. Like, and I'm starting to have lung issues because I've gotten COVID 4 different times now, and every time it's like my lungs haven't gone back to 100%. You see me always puffing this thing. That doesn't fucking help. And I've watched several people die of COPD and lung issues. I would like to quit this too. I have a fume, but I don't care what the advertisers say. The fume is fucking worthless. If, like, you're a hardcore, like, pack-a-day smoker and, like, really addicted to nicotine, a fume ain't gonna do it for you. Like, it really won't. It's a nice idea, and I'm glad that it does help people out there, but to me, $100 for that shit, they know that it's not going to help 90% of the people out there. That's why they charge so much for it up front, in my opinion. Anyway, yeah. Going down to 1 pill a day. Hopefully that work, you know, we'll go see how that does, go through it through the month, and then maybe down to half, and then maybe down to 0.25, and then finally get off of it. And then I'm officially fucking free of this grip, man, and my brain can finally start resetting and going back to normal. And then I can just have my anxiety medicine and eat a gummy every once in a while, and that be my thing. Because I don't ever want to have a drink again. I don't like the person that I become when I drink, and I don't like feeling sick for 3 days after. The older you get, the more shitty you feel. I'm starting to get gray hairs, dude. You can't see them. Actually, you can. There's a silver one right there. I'm starting to get gray hairs. I am 27, about to turn 28, and I already have gray hairs forming right here. It's fucking nuts. I gotta start taking care of me. And first step, I think, is getting off these meds. Because it is not good that I can never shit and that I never eat. Losing 50 pounds, I think, has a lot to do with this medication. And yeah, I think the positives just outweigh the negatives, or vice versa. The negatives outweigh the positives at this point. It doesn't really help with cravings. I'm always going to have to deal with that. And that's just mental willpower. It just keeps me from getting sick. So if we can just wing me off of it, I'm almost wondering if I got a kratom shot. They got Viva Zen shots that are like 2 doses. I'm almost wondering if I just stopped taking the Subutex and when I started going through withdrawal, just did a little kratom shot and did that. Got me through it. Then it would be so much easier to just quit that kratom shot than it would be Subutex. Because Subutex is 10 times more powerful than morphine. It's a hardcore opiate, dude. Like, so theoretically, I would have an easier time getting off kratom than Subutex. So if I don't know. It's probably just best to try to quit the Subutex by weaning off of it. But I thought it was a big deal. I've been on this med for 2 years. I'm finally making that leap and trying to go and get the fuck off this. Because, like, you could make a case for me being one of those people that need it for the rest of my life for sure. And I don't want to be on it for the rest of my life. I don't, man. It makes me tired. It makes me not feel well. It makes me emotionless. It makes it hard to get it up. It makes it hard to get aroused. It makes it hard to fucking eat. It makes it hard to shit. There's not a lot of positives to say about this medicine other than it really just keeps me from getting physically ill. And so we're going down to 1 a day. And I think that's something worth ranting about for 30 minutes. Sorry for all the backstory and getting to that. I could have just said in a 5-minute video, hey, I'm going down. But the point is because I wanted y'all to know, like, just how long of a journey this has been. This hasn't been like, man, I did heroin for 2 years and then I got on Subutex. I have been battling with opiates since I was 10. And my mother allowed me to fall in love with this drug. And then I finally beat it, and then I had the unfortunate incident of having my teeth dealt with, and then a doctor not knowing how to wing me off of it, just cold turkey in it. And then just, yeah, went down this dark road of kratom, poppy seed tea, getting my hands on anything that would replicate the feeling, that warm, fuzzy feeling. Dude, it makes me the opposite of me. I feel so happy. I feel so charismatic. I could talk to anybody. I have no social anxiety. Like, I cannot tell you how warm and amazing opiates make me feel. And that's, my anxiety is just gone. And I feel like a normal, happy human being. And it's dangerous, is what it is. But I'm sober because I want to be. If I was going to relapse, I would have done it when the bitch cheated on me. But what did I do? Not a fucking thing. I cried my eyes out for a week, and then I got the fuck over it and said, you know what, buddy? She didn't deserve you. Because she didn't. She's with her level of man. Fucking face-tatted motherfucking asshole that has 2 kids he never sees, living in a hotel room and doesn't have a license. She's on her level of dude. She traded down in every fucking way, and I deserve better. And that's my lesson from this relationship. I did a 180 on my personality and was a good husband to that woman. What the point of this relationship was to make me the person that I need to be for the next woman. Now, will I ever date again? I don't know, but what I do know is that I am comfortable with my independence now. Finally, for once in my life, I am happy being alone. Well, yeah, I'm happy without a woman. I'm not happy that I don't have any fucking friends and that I can only talk to this camera, but I don't need a woman. Like, I'm content with, I'm figuring out who I am and what I deserve and what makes me happy and how I am as a partner and what makes me tick, and I'm independent, and it's going to take somebody really special to make me want to break that. Not, especially, I'm not Ariana's or my ex-wife's dumbass. Like, You know, you single moms out there that introduce your children to your boyfriends every week, or you single dads that introduce your fucking children to your new woman every week, you're fucking morons, dude. Don't introduce your kid to your partner that you're seeing unless you are seriously considering them being in their life. Because not only does it run the risk of the person not being a good person for your child, but best case scenario, you last 5 years, they get along real well, and then she's got to deal with the abandonment of y'all breaking up. Like, it's almost like it's not fair to stay single for the rest of your life because you have your kid. That's not what I'm saying. It's just you need to be choosy and you need to be serious about dating when you have a kid. About choosing the right person that you feel comfortable involving in your kid's life that you actually see lasting with. And instead, I see people like my mother just, oh, yep, this is your new dad now until next month. Yeah, what do you think that leads to? No wonder I have so many fucking anxiety problems and I'm always worried that shit's not going to work out. Because I never had shit work out when I was a kid. I never had security, ever. That's a video for another day. Step in the right direction. Down to 1 pill a day on Subutex. That's the goal. That's what we're going to shoot for. And I'll report back. I'll make a video, follow up maybe in a couple weeks on how that's going. Because it's going to be slow. It's going to take time, you know. Like, I do go down to 1 a day. Like, it might suck. If it sucks, then maybe we go down to 1.25. We'll see. I know that I went from 3 to 1.5 in 1 month, and it was the most miserable month of my life. But that was because I was forced to go a week without my meds. Then started taking 3 a day and felt like I was ODing. Felt cracked out of my mind. So I basically had to find my dose again since I had to go so long without it. And, yeah. You hear my princess crying in the background because for whatever reason, anytime I get on the computer, she's bothered because she doesn't get my attention. She's so fucking spoiled. I wish y'all understood how spoiled she is. She's almost too spoiled to the point that I'm starting to have a problem with, like, literally I will say the word no and she will throw an absolute fit, and I ain't okay with that. You don't get to not get your way for half a second and then throw a fucking tantrum. Like, you are not going to grow up to be that person that fucking freaks out on customer service because you got pickles on your burger. You're not going to be that. You know, pull it the fucking together. So I got to find this line between spoiling her too much but not neglecting her. You know what I mean? And I've been spoiling her too much. I let her walk all over me. That's the facts. But yeah, that's my thoughts on the day. I also want to say thank you for the love. If anybody's watching this part, my viewer retention rate doesn't seem like people are actually watching all the way. And I get it. I kind of regurgitate the same thing over and over. I'm watching my videos. I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to speak faster and not regurgitate the same thing and go off on too many tangents. But to those of y'all that watch, man, I appreciate it. I think it's really heartwarming, actually, that there's people out there that see just a random person like me, my random face, and for whatever reason decide to click on my video and listen to what I have to say. There's something really sweet about that, and I appreciate y'all. Watch me, even if it's for 54 seconds or if you watch the whole video. Like, I appreciate it. I've gotten nice comments. This is the internet. I could be getting trolls telling me to fuck off, telling me this or that, trying my ass. Dude, out of all the people in the world that could give a fuck about somebody else's opinion about me, I am not the one. I could give a fuck less what you think about me, dude. I don't give a fuck. You're a stranger that I don't know. The only opinion that matters about me is me. Really, at the end of the fucking day, and my daughter. I could give a fuck less about your opinion on me. So when it comes to trolls, fuck you is my point. but I cannot believe that's what I expected. I expected to make videos and get troll comments, and instead I get encouragement. And that not only tells me that I'm finding a good outlet, but it's so sweet, and it's encouraging, and it's motivating, and I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for the love. Thank you for seeing me. Thank you for whatever reason deciding, hey, I'm going to click on this weird-looking motherfucker's video and see what the fuck he's got to say for a minute. Maybe it's the cool lights. Maybe it's the TV in the background. Maybe it's the beautiful fucking shadow. Maybe it's the hair. Maybe it's Charlie's shirt. I don't know. But I do appreciate the fact that y'all have been checking out the content and listening to me. I don't know what I plan on this channel to be, man. You know, if I get a lot of people watching, I just want to be able to talk about whatever the fuck that I feel like talking about, but that can be boring, you know? And I don't know. I got a review that I'm going to do soon whenever I get it complete, and I'll talk about it. But for right now, I just want to talk about moments in my life that I feel like are worth noting, and this is one of them. A fucking 18-year battle with opiates, and I'm finally starting to wean off of it and feel like that I'm starting to get the upper hand, and I think that's fucking huge, dude. And if I can do it, your motherfucking ass can do it. That's why I make these videos, is to encourage somebody out there, anybody, that is just fucking begging for a reason, some willpower. You can do this, man. If I can do it, if I can kick this shit, so can you, man. If you're addicted to fucking opiates, dude, go get on Subutex for a couple years and wean yourself off. Go get some help. It's easy to do. It helps. It really did help with my physical withdrawals and helped me, and it's way better than the alternative, which is methadone, which is literally not helping in any way because it's a full antagonist. Even if it's a controlled amount, you're literally taking a full antagonist every day to keep from getting physically sick, and you're getting high off of it. I think Subutex is a nice alternative because not only does it keep you from getting physically sick, but you don't get high. And if you were to take, that's the beauty of it, if you were to take a perk anyway, you wouldn't feel it. That's the beauty of Suboxone and Subutex, is that you literally don't have a choice. But that is the thing that's crazy, is that whenever I do quit, I totally could go get a kratom shot and down it if I wanted to. But you know what? I'm pretty sure I can do that on Subutex anyway. I'm pretty sure Tiana still works on... Point is, going down to one pill, y'all. And hopefully that works out. And just one day at a time, man. Trying to make the best decisions I can for my health and to be a better me and to be a better father to that girl. And I need to get off these pills so my body functions better, my brain functions better, and gets back to normal. And now I'm on anxiety meds, which is nice, and I think that'll help me win this battle. Anyway, this video is getting a little too long. I'm sorry, but I can really talk and talk. But yeah, I needed to give all that backstory for y'all to understand really how big of a deal this is. That not only that I'm even alive at this point, but that I'm on Subutex, didn't relapse whenever my wife cheated, and now I'm making this decision in the middle of all this to try to fucking taper off, when like some people got to be on it the rest of their lives, and some people don't feel like they're ever mentally strong enough to. I do. I want to be sober for her. I could have drank. You can drink on this stuff. I could have drank. I could have went and got a bottle whenever I found out my ex-wife cheated. You know, I could have done that. I could have went and got a joint. I could have went and I didn't do anything. I dealt with the pain head on, confronted it, dealt with it, cried, hurt. But I'm through it, man. And this bitch, she's just putting it off. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate the love.